Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 149 of the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies Podcast. We are brought to you by Black Belt Digital Marketing. Anything you need to build your business on or offline, that's website design, Google Ads, graphic design, printing, we can absolutely help. Check us out at Black Belt Digital Marketing on Instagram or our website, bbdigitalmarketing.com. You can request a free review of your online presence today. Black Belt Digital Marketing specializes in local marketing. Although we do everything, we specialize in helping people get found in the local market. My name is Milton Campus. I'm a black belt training out of South Florida. We got Christian behind the camera.
Hey.
Bo is MIA today. We gave him the day off, actually. Don't forget to like, comment, download, share, and click that subscribe button. We appreciate all the support. Don't forget, Google Play has now moved to YouTube, so all of your favorite podcasts are now on YouTube. You can go to your favorite channels, and probably if they did it, they migrated all of their podcasts over to their YouTube channel, so you should see a podcast tab. We did it already. We're missing, I think, 40 episodes, so we've got to work with them on getting those out, but everything else should be there pretty much up to date, right up to the last episode. Joining us today is the founder of the Grapplers Guide, third degree black, but third degree, right, Jason?
Fourth now.
Fourth. Okay. You know what? I looked at a picture. I looked at one of your the Instagram videos. I'm like, 1, 2, 3. Okay, 3. Third degree. So fourth degree black belt, Jason Scully. Thank you for being with us, Jason. I got a couple other shout outs real quick, and then we're going to bring you in, okay?
Sounds good.
We are also brought to you by academysafe.org. Academy Safe is a nonprofit whose mission is to help clean up the martial arts by advocating for background checks and U.S. Center for Safe Sport certifications for all coaches and staff members at every academy throughout the United States. We're thinking about going beyond Canada and worldwide. I am the founder and executive director of Academy Safe. Rob Ingram from McDojo Life is the executive VP, and together we're going to completely change the way people find and vet martial arts academies by providing a website registry listing Academy Safe certified gyms around the country. Okay, there'll be things. Not just background checks and the safe sport, but CPR, first aid certifications. Do you have security cameras, AEDs, right? Defibrillators, defibrillator training, belt and lineage checks, right? We don't want to charge academies to be listed, although they would be responsible for the cost of any of the certifications and background checks. So we're really trying to do this as a true nonprofit, give them a place that they could be listed, give them a place where a good gym can be found. So we are running a GoFundMe. We're trying to raise some money. We're going to do it with or without any money from the public, to be honest. Black Belt Digital Marketing is pushing this all the way through. But you can find a link in the description if you want to help. Wherever you're watching and listening, just go to the description and you'll see academysafe.org, and you'll see a donation tab probably where you can go right to the GoFundMe. We can also take, if you go to the website, we're also taking donations through PayPal. Okay? If you can't donate, just share. That's super helpful. Every little bit helps. We also started a waiting list. Forgot to mention that. If you go to academysafe.org, you can fill out the form on that page. Right now, we have a landing page and a blog. So that's only 2 pages to the website. We're building out the rest. But right there on the homepage of academysafe.org, you can actually put all your academy information. We'll add you to our waiting list. I really should call it waiting/mailing list. And then we'll keep you up to date when we're going to launch, which will probably be... I'm shooting for the end of November, before December, definitely before the end of the year. Last but not least, I got a couple more. I'm sorry. We got a thank you to our friends over at Flow and Roll. Hands down the best custom gi and no-gi gear in the business. Don't believe us? Visit them on Instagram at flow_n_roll. Check out all of the custom designs they've created for academies across the country. You could visit their website at flowandroll.com and get 20% off with code JJD. And I definitely recommend gym owners ask them about their incredible pre-order program. There's actually a form when the website comes up, and you can request a quote or to meet with them about their pre-order program, which helps you stock up your academy with only a small out-of-pocket investment. You can email them as well at flowandroll@gmail.com, or you could fill out the form on their website. Again, they'll get back to you, and it's flowandroll.com for more info. Last but not least, we got Leo Optics. I like to throw these bad boys on. They're on the counter because I wear them on the ride here. Leo Optics is a sunglass and apparel company specializing in these signature bamboo sunglasses. They were founded in Southern California with products reflecting the BJJ lifestyle. You can check out their website at leooptics.com and use code JJD for 10% off your order. And I always like to show that black belts, right? You can get the red stripe. You can get the any stripe blue through black. They'll put it right here for you. Just request it when you check out. All right, guys. That's it. Let's bring Jason in. Hey, man. Thank you for being patient. Appreciate you.
Of course. Thanks for having me again.
How have you been, man? How's it been? We were saying before, it's been probably about 4 years, right?
Yeah, it's been 4 years. Were you a black belt 4 years ago?
No. I just got my black belt in December. I was a purple belt when I started
congratulations.
this. Thank you, man. Thank you.
Congratulations. Because I heard you say black belt. I'm like, wait a second. I think that's new since 4 years
yeah.
from now.
Yeah.
So I got a degree and you got your black. I just got my 4th degree.
Yep.
You know,
Congrats.
myself, so.
Congrats.
And then I opened an academy as well.
Yeah, man. That's on my list of topics to talk about, man. Yeah. Congratulations. I think last time, let's go back. Let's start with, you are the founder of the Grapplers Guide. Mm-hmm. I told you I'm going to repeat myself so that everybody that's listening can hear. My old co-host Miguel, he commented on one of the questions posts that we put out. He said, "Oh, this is going to be awesome. He's the most talked about man on the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies podcast." And if you've listened, this is the guy that I've been telling you about. I've been watching you since I found you at white belt. Excuse me. So absolutely been watching your stuff for 10 years, and I watch to this day. I've been off the mat for about a month. I had a groin, it's probably more of a sports hernia, but got a little pain in the leg, right? So it's a bitch. You got to really stay off the mat on this one. But pretty much my entire jiu-jitsu career, I've been watching your stuff. I always tell everybody, especially on Saturday, Sunday mornings, always had an open mat. Grab a coffee, banana. That's my morning breakfast pre-training on Saturdays and Sundays. And I throw you on, and was able to get ready, watch the TV, sit for a minute, go get something, get my knee pads, get this, get my bag. You're always on. And I'm always catching, the videos that I would always put on were the ones on YouTube where it was, 55 chokes in 5 minutes, or leg lock, whatever, 70 leg locks in 10 minutes, stuff like that. It was, for me, not really truly even understanding in the beginning that was the best way for me to learn. Like I've purchased one instructional in my entire life from BJJ Fanatics. I purchased one instructional. That was it, because I just really took to that fast. You said it before. You were doing shorts, YouTube shorts, but putting them all into one video before there was YouTube shorts, right? Yeah. So, if we think about it now, the way we scroll and consume, it's just like, okay, that was 15 seconds, that was 30, that was 45, that was 10, right? I'm addicted to that, but I didn't realize it 10 years ago that was just the best way for me to learn. It was kind of like finding a position or something to work on, because I was always in that position, like, oh, I'm always there. Oh, that's what I do. So I would grab that and then go work on that in the gym. And sometimes, right, that was it. I was like, all right, that. Rewind. Let me see it again. Okay, I'm going to work on that. So you've truly been a part of my journey from the beginning and to this day. So, thank you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool and weird to know that I'm part of someone's daily routine, basically.
I think for anybody that hasn't seen your stuff, they need to get on the Grapplers Guide, subscribe. You'll see what I'm talking about. Obviously now you're doing it a little bit different. You're truly doing like the shorts. You're right. I'm still following your stuff. I see your stuff all the time. You're truly doing like the reels and the shorts under 60 seconds for the most part, right? The shorts you have to be under 60.
Because YouTube, you have to be under 60. Yeah. So some of them are over, and then I edit them down to under 60. So there'll be different variations. Sure. But I still actually do make those. I don't make them as much, but I have a new YouTube channel that has almost 18,000 subscribers, which is called Jiu-Jitsu in Minutes now.
I'm on that one as well. I follow you. Yep. Yeah.
So I don't update as much, but there are. So I think the last one, it's probably less than a year since the last one that I put up. It's just that people don't realize how hard it is to make those videos, and that's why people don't. That's why people don't emulate those videos. Yeah. Even after so long. With the success of those videos, you would think that someone would literally just copy the whole thing, but they're very hard to make. Like, it's a workout.
That's got how many hours for a 5 to 6, 7 minute video? Because that's right there. I know would be a big range.
I usually film for
how many hours?
3 hours.
Yeah, you
usually film for at least 3 hours, but it's me just drilling. Like I'm literally just running through the techniques, and I'll have 40 things written down and think of another 15 while I'm doing it, because I'm like, oh, well, there's this one, and then there's this one, and then there's this one. And not only that, I'm doing all different angles. And sometimes I do the angles multiple times because I didn't like the way it felt, or I didn't think it was the proper angle, or I just do multiple angles because I don't know if it's the right one. So it's like after three hours, I'm literally dripping in sweat. I need to go take a nap.
Is it camera on, I'm going to go, or is it camera on, go, oh, let me check and see what that looked like. Oh, let me come back and go, and check the camera again, look at what we got?
Very rarely do I double check to see what it looked like.
Okay.
Unless I felt like it was done right, but it felt weird. So if it felt like it wasn't done right, but I was confused, then I'll quickly look at the camera. But if I constantly just checked myself, then 3 hours it would turn into 5 hours.
Yeah.
And I would dread every second of it. But I understand the high return that it has. I mean, the first video I technically made of that was back in 2006, not even realizing that YouTube started in 2005.
Really?
Basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you were a purple belt?
I was a blue belt.
A blue belt when you started doing these, huh?
Yeah.
The nerve of this blue belt. Who does this blue belt think he is? Just putting out videos. He doesn't even know. He can't know 55 moves of anything.
And I ran a gym as a blue belt too.
Really?
I was a gym owner.
Wow.
Yeah. And then as a purple belt, that's when I launched the Grapplers Guide. I made an instructional set.
I admire that, but let me ask you, what were you thinking? What were you think at that time? Was it like, what am I going to do this? Is anybody going to watch this, listen to me, come train with me, or?
No, so I just finished reading a book not too long ago, 10X is better than 2X. It's the concept of 10X in your life compared to just constantly just grinding away, trying to like 2X it, basically, where if you take like a huge leap, you can most likely create opportunity for yourself much quicker and more efficiently than just chipping away like here and there. And one of the topics that they talked about is what is your unique ability, right? And throughout life, I realized that my unique ability is I'm a perpetual action taker. So when I think of an idea and I at that moment, if I believe in it, I just do it. I just take action. It doesn't matter if somebody thinks it's too soon or so on and so forth. If I'm not a black belt already, I just do it. I just take action, because the reality of it is if you don't, it's most likely going to be too late. So that everything that I've done, running a gym as a blue belt, making this, I made a closed guard video. It was a 55 closed guard techniques, I think in like 8 minutes. It was the first one I ever made as a blue belt. You know, it's like, who am I? And then launching the Grapplers Guide as a purple belt. It was all a product of me being like, well, who cares if I am not this particular like prestige or whatever people think I should be? I'm just going to do it. So that's literally my whole entire life and how I've ended up where I've ended up. Basically.
What did you call that? A perpetual? Did you say?
I'm a perpetual action taker.
Action taker. I'm exactly that as well. The 3 businesses I run today are all that. I owned a marketing company for 8 years, went to work for somebody else for 6, was unhappy after COVID, opened Black Belt Digital Marketing. We're going on 3 years, November. When I was working for the other marketing company, actually, the podcast came first. It's like 5.5 years now. I was working for somebody else, and it was just like, I want to do this thing. Brought the idea to my wife. She says like she was just like, oh yeah, you could film in my office. I've got this guy that does it already at the office. I'm like, okay, wow. She bought in. Okay, great. I did that.
Yeah, people don't realize the importance of that as well. So I give my wife a lot of credit with being supportive. You know, obviously when I did a lot of this stuff earlier on, I wasn't married to her, but there's been many aspects since we've been together for a long time now where she is like, okay, make it happen. You know? So
has there been a time when she's been like, Jason, another one? Really? Is this necessary?
You know, so she does a good job of being like my conscience as well. So it's like, we have this running joke, like she's not just my wife, she's my consultant, basically. Cause you know, she's a very smart person, and she really is somebody that I do look to for, you know, advice as well. So the running joke is when we talk about things that are related to my ideas or businesses, I send her $5 through Apple Pay.
Do you really do?
100%. Yeah. It's a joke.
Yeah.
And sometimes like I'll send her like $15 because like I realized that like I consulted with her a few times and she won't even know it's coming. It's like $50 with like a heart emoji.
Yeah.
And then, you know, she laughs and so on and so forth. But for the most part, she trusts in my my ideas, especially because I've been doing this for a very long time. And the big one was when I did open up my academy, which we'll talk about at some point, I assume.
Yeah.
So that's where I really did check in with her a lot with that.
Yeah. See, I don't want to say the opposite happened to me, but I was working for somebody else, making really good money, started the podcast just because it was fun. I had a friend that used to tell me stories about just the South Florida jiu-jitsu community, and I'd be like, oh my, like these stories were crazy. You know, he trained with Popovich, if you know anything about Popovich, and what happened in his academy at the end with him, with the UFC fighter coming to his gym with a gun, right? You know all that?
Yeah, no, I know about all that. Yeah.
Well, he trained there before that, and he got his black belt while he was training with me. He was one of my, his name is Junior. He was one of my first, when we started this, it was 5 guys and a girl sitting around a table talking about jiu-jitsu. We called them like round tables. And then slowly but surely it evolved into us having guests, and it turned into this. But hearing the stories, I would just be like, man, I wish we would have recorded that. And just advice and stories. And then I just brought the idea to her. I go, this is it. I want to name it this. She gave me a place to record it, and that was it. But funny enough, that relationship went sour because of me starting the marketing company and then going out on my own, leaving a job that I was working at for 6 years because I was unhappy post-COVID. And then it turned into, it took off, and I had to hire. My daughter started working for me. I needed to hire more because it kept on moving, and she wasn't into investing family money into the business. Our relationship soured.
Everybody has their own. Exactly. So for me, the leg up that I had is that jiu-jitsu was my career for over a decade before I met her too.
Yeah.
So she kind of knew where I was with these all the ideas and scenarios.
Yeah.
And I say luck through hard work. For me personally, knock on noggin, my track record has been pretty good so far. So hopefully it keeps going.
So let's go back and talk about the schools, because let's talk about the first school. So you're a blue belt. What came first, Grappler's Guide, or did you open a gym?
The gym.
You had the gym first. That's the one with the wood, right? We see in all the older videos with the...
No, there was actually one before then.
Oh, there was one before that too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you find, I think it's my first ever YouTube video, and it is actually the one in 2006 where I made 55. It's terrible quality.
Yeah.
I redid it at one point, but it's gray mats with like blue wall mats. It was this, I don't know, maybe full 500 square feet of mats, like this hole in the wall place. And so that was actually my first academy. I guess technically I had 3. Because I split with my business partner at that time, and then I opened one 2 weeks later on my own.
Okay.
That ended up being the one with the wood.
The wood, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the wood in the background. Yeah.
So what did we say? The gym came first, and then
gym came first.
Then you started. Then how did you come up with the idea about recording? Was it? Were you intentional with this? Were like, I want to do this, and I think people would watch, or was it more just, hey, I'm gonna do this for myself. If something happens with it, great. Did you have an intention?
So what happened is I really didn't have an intention. I was on mixedmartialarts.com, which was MMA TV at the time. And I used to just always go on the forums and talk to people. And somebody asked a question, or what are your favorite close guard techniques that you do? And at that time, I had a very intricate close guard system. And so I was like, hey, I'll film something for you. So at the end of class, I just took one of my training partners and I just brain dumped everything in my brain that I had 0 written down at the time. And I just went over 55 different techniques that I used. And I believe they were even organized and categorized. And I said, oh, well, I do this position. And I just started brain dumping then. And then I put the video up on YouTube and I posted it up on the forum. And people were like, man, this is awesome. Like, I can't believe you just did this. And I was just a blue belt. So I was getting a lot of positive feedback on this video. And then after that, I was like, man, I should probably just keep making some of these videos because they like it. It wasn't until a few years later where I actually really started committing to those fast videos. But then I started putting more stuff on YouTube because I saw an opportunity. And the idea of the Grapplers Guide didn't even happen until, the Grapplers Guide happened like a year later. But I had a different idea. So, it was still going to be online. but I didn't launch the Grappler's Guide or anything then. Then I just kind of like rolled with it.
What was the other idea? You're saying there was a different idea than Grappler's Guide?
Well, it was still an online site, but it was MMAskills.com. I was going to do an MMA site, but grappling is my thing. I was like, I'm not an MMA fighter. I really like grappling. I already designed everything. I worked on it for a year, and then I scratched the whole thing and switched it to the Grappler's Guide. I bought grapplersguide.com domain name. I was like, oh man, this is a good name. And then I just went with that afterwards.
So you're opening a gym. You're a blue belt. Are you training in other places? Are you hiring coaches to come in? Were you coaching?
So I was teaching. I was teaching as a blue belt. There really wasn't much jiu-jitsu around. This was in 2004.
Remind me where you are. I keep on thinking Jersey.
So I'm in New Jersey. Yeah.
Jersey.
So there wasn't much jiu-jitsu around. This was like 2004. I was driving an hour almost every single day to train. And that was the motivation of opening up the gym, is that I couldn't drive an hour every single day, sometimes twice a day. So then I was presented with the opportunity to partner up with someone. So technically it was like their gym, and then they gave me 50% of it because, once again, I'm a perpetual action taker. So I was training there. They didn't even ask me to do it. I learned how to create websites, and I learned how to do Google SEO, and I got them tons of students for free, basically.
Wow, that's awesome.
And then at that point they were like, hey, you want to just, partner up 50-50 because you got us most of these students anyway. So then we created a business partnership, and then it became my gym at the time too. I was always the type of person where if I saw opportunity, I just did it. Like I didn't ask anybody if it was okay. Like I just did it. And then it just worked out because people saw that I just took action, basically.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's good to see. Like it's resonating with me because, again, I am that person. I'm a little bit older than you, and to be starting a business at 50 plus was, I just started the podcast came first, then Black Belt Digital Marketing, and now I'm doing Academy Safe with Rob from McDojo Life, and it was just like I have to do this. It felt called to do it because of what was going on in the gyms down here in South Florida and my old gym specifically. There was some crap that started to happen there. And I was just like, I'm out, and I really feel like I have to do something about it. So like I just did it. In 30 days, we had it up and running, registered with the IRS, the Florida State, and raising money on GoFundMe. And honestly, like 30 days, we had everything up and running. But, because I have the marketing company, it makes it a little bit easier. It's just like throw this into the machine that is the marketing company, and logo's done in a week, and we're posting the social media, and my team is creating all the pages and everything like that. So you're a little bit easier than just a business owner having to do everything themselves. But yeah, man, I'm that. What you've just described is where I'm at, and like we're not even. I think we're like 60 days of Academy. It was July 24th was when we registered. So July, August, September. We're not even at 60 days, and we're already moving forward. Nice. And yeah, so I'm that. So you're saying that, and I'm just like, okay, I'm not crazy. But. I've got the podcast is successful. The Black Belt Digital Marketing is successful. We have 6 employees now, and it's good to see somebody else is like that. And I'm just not. Sometimes I look at myself and I'm like, what are you thinking?
The reality of it is,
who are you? You change the martial arts industry. What are you thinking?
Yeah, exactly. The reality of it, there's so many people that have these ideas and they want to do things, and they're always holding themselves back because they're waiting for the perfect time to do it, or they're waiting for someone to give them the green light, or they have a lack of belief in themselves. All those things are things that hold people back from accomplishing the stuff that they want to accomplish, instead of assessing, okay, is this truly a good idea? Yes, I think this is a good idea. So now let's do it. What are the steps that I can take to take action and make it happen? You figure out those steps. Okay, now let's start those steps, basically, instead of constantly self-doubting yourself. Like literally just the amount of people that self-doubt themselves and don't take any action when they do have good ideas, when they do have good opportunities. And it's just, they're always waiting for the perfect moment. Like I truly believe in the mantra of just throw the shit up on the wall and clean it up as you go. I say it over and over again, but that's been my life, where it's like, if I just constantly wait for perfection, it's too late. Like I might as well just get going, have it be a little dirty, and then I clean it up as I go, then be like, yeah, this more often than not, it's like, okay, this was a good idea.
So let me ask you this. I'm curious as you're saying that, because I've heard of like throw shit against the wall and see what sticks, but I like the cleaning it up as you go, because that's probably how I've done things. Are you somebody who would write out a true business plan when you come up with these ideas, or just literally, like you said, throw it against the wall and just like figure it out? I like to say, let the business steer. The business is going to tell you where it needs to go.
Yes. No, I don't, I wouldn't say I'd write out a business plan. I'm an outliner,
Okay.
like for sure.
Yeah.
I definitely do outlines.
Yeah.
And I believe in brain dumping, right? So when I have an idea, the first thing I do is I assess, is this idea something that is valid and worth me putting my time in? So then that way I can start analyzing it. Yes, it is. Now, okay, I decided that this is an idea that's worth me actually putting some brain power into, and then I go onto my notes. I use Notion notes a lot, and I'll go on there, and then I'll just create headlines. I'll create outlines. Okay, this is something, this is something, this is something, and then I'll create bullet points underneath. And it's probably like one sit down, maybe a couple hours, and then after that, I look at it. I'm like, okay, now I'm ready to go.
So I do something similar. I'll use just notes in my iPhone and just start an outline. And like, you know how things just come to you. You're sitting on the toilet or you're in the shower, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's a good idea. I put it in now.
Yes.
I put it in my outline. I add it, and then it becomes subheadings and little categories. And this is going to get assigned to this person. And then I just kind of continue to outline it. And then there's going to, like, I'm doing that with the Academy Safe website. We did a landing page and a blog just to kind of get something up quickly. And now we've got the website coming. So I have that entire outline of every page that's got to be included, what's going to be on it, who's got to take care of it, who's writing the content. And now we have our meeting on Monday to get it in front of the developer and then just really get the site built. The structure's all there. Now this is all the content that's got to go on it. So you just described exactly how I do it too. I'm looking at my outline of this podcast right now. I do that the exact same way. It's usually same structure from the previous, but I copy it over and then I'm just adding in, bullet points and things that I want to talk about with the guest. But
exactly. Yeah. Outlining is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated things that you can do. And the first thing that I tell people, I say, if you want to create the opportunity of success with the ideas that you have, is never let an idea slip your brain. Constantly write it down. It doesn't matter if the idea is crap. It doesn't matter if it's amazing. If you have an idea, a thought, take out the notes app on your phone or whatever your note-taking apparatus is and write it down. So then that way you can go back to it and reference it. And once again, you'll have the ability to clean it up because an idea leaves your brain within like 20 to 30 seconds and it may never come back again. And if it does come back, it may not be as good as the first time you thought about it.
I forget things like immediately, like it's just like, oh shit, what was I just thinking? Oh, that's good. That thought is gone now,
Yeah, I'll be teaching a class, right? So now that I'm teaching classes, and I tell my students, if I take out my phone and I start typing, I am not texting, I'm taking notes. Because I'll teach something and I'll be like, I never wrote that down, or I never filmed that, or this is something I want to make sure that is planted into our system that I make sure that I always remember. So I even put that in practice in the middle of my classes. And I tell them, if I'm typing on my phone, I'm not texting anybody, I'm creating notes. So then that way I can be a better instructor.
Yeah, I do it. I do it exactly like that. And I'll say it. I've never written a business plan for one of my businesses, but I've certainly written outlines for myself of the things that need to get done, action plan, what needs to get done. But like, putting in projections and numbers, it's all bullshit. You don't really know what it's going to be. You can project whatever you want. How many times have I heard somebody be like, yeah, just, fluff the numbers up a little bit. Well, you can't, you just, I don't really believe in it. I understand if you go into investors and things like that, but I've always just done everything myself. So the business plan is just for me. So I just didn't do what I would really do the outline. So it's worked well. I'm going to keep on doing it like that. So again, it's good to hear that somebody else does it like that. Cause then again, sometimes, I feel like, am I crazy or should I do it a different way? So you just really solidified that for me. So that's awesome.
Sometimes it's good to have like-minded individuals to kind of create either validity or to just bounce the idea off of, right? So even right now, it's just a random topic that came up that bounce the idea and you're like, okay, well, this person does this who has accomplished certain things in the jiu-jitsu world or whatever, and I do it. So, okay, maybe it's still a good idea that I keep rolling with it, and then you might talk to somebody else who has a differing opinion and it sways your ideas, but it is good to be able to talk to people that have some like-minded ideas about stuff.
I had a business mentor that I used to basically run all my ideas past, and he was so negative about everything that he was perfect because it was just like, I would literally go to him and say, I got an idea. I'm going to tell you that. Please poke holes in it. Tell me what I'm missing or why this won't work in your mind. And he would, and he'd rip it apart. But sometimes he'd be like, that's a great fucking idea.
Unlock the power of your online presence with Black Belt Digital Marketing. Their reputation management program ensures your Google business profile seen by more potential customers. Black Belt Digital Marketing is your full-service digital marketing agency specializing in local SEO and reputation management. Boost your business today. Visit bbdigitalmarketing.com. Your success is their priority.
Miss your morning routine, BioPro.
Special thank you to the crew over at Flow and Roll for all their support. Flow and Roll is renowned for their incredible no-gi rash guards, shorts, and leggings. Flow and Roll has quickly become the premier custom apparel provider for academies big and small throughout the United States. Reach out today to discuss your custom order and ask about their incredible pre-order program. You can send an email to flowandroll@gmail.com or visit their Instagram at flow_n_roll and shoot them a direct message. And yes, they can create an awesome custom gi for your academy as well. Visit flowandroll.com to check out their awesome designs, and remember, you'll get 20% off your purchase of t-shirts, rash guards, or gis with code JJD.
Yeah, and you should do this, and then do that, and that's when I really knew I had something. And even if he poked holes in something, I'd just be like, let me plug these holes, and then figure it out, and then maybe come back to him. I don't have that person in my life anymore, but he was definitely somebody that I was able to do that with. But these days, I mentioned this before, like, now I'm running a marketing company. I'm helping people with their marketing. So I tell them sometimes when they're like, I'm trying to figure this out and I don't know what to do here. I said, look, the business is going to tell you what it needs. Let the business steer in this, and not in all cases, but in this particular case, if we're having a conversation about something, let's do this. We're going to get the marketing in play. We're going to get you some more phone calls. We're going to help you get your Google business profile found more. And then we'll see what comes next. Let the business steer. The business is going to tell us what it needs next. And it doesn't mean it's going to be a year down the line, but in 30 days, let's see where we're at. And then we can figure out what's next. And that's usually comforting to a lot of people. Like, yeah, that is true. What if I got 100, not going to be the case all the time, but let's just say I get 100 new students this month and shit, what am I going to do? Maybe we don't have to turn on Google ads the second month. Maybe we can wait till 6 months out, because let's get these students in. Let's get them, kind of get them in their keys, get them signed up, get the waivers, right? Like, you got to do all that stuff. And I don't specialize in martial arts marketing by any means, actually. Most of my stuff is home services, but I'm just using that as an example. But it's just like, what if this takes off quickly? Maybe we shouldn't do this, or we don't need to do this, or this is a better idea. So I've got to guide clients like that. But again, I'm always telling them, let the business steer. We'll figure it out. It's going to tell us what it needs. You're not going to go out of business. Don't worry. It is always good to have somebody. Not, you said like-minded. Sometimes again, with my ex-wife, I would mention something to her and she'd just be like, you're crazy. What are you doing? You going to spend the money on that? Like, wait a minute. Don't tell me I'm crazy. I'm trying to grow this business. I'm trying to do more, but I definitely have always been somebody that really, I'll take the chance, as I get older, it's a little scarier when you do it, because you have a lot more to lose at a certain age. But I've gotten lucky. My daughter works for me. Her fiance, my future son-in-law works for me. Her half-sister works for me. So it's been great to not only have this take off, but to employ family and to give them a business. They were two of them were teachers. They hated it. 7 years between the two. Like, they hated it. The kids are horrible and the parents are worse. They were so happy to get out of that world, and here we are,
Yeah, well, I'm sure there's not a lot of emotional return for people, unfortunately, in the teaching world, like the scholastic teaching world.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely not like jiu-jitsu. I mean, it's one of my favorite things when I do get to teach or even just help out with a class. It's just like that, especially when I'm hurt. It fills my soul to just help somebody and help, then see them do something that you taught them. I mean, I think that's really fulfilling. But again, right now these days, and I'm sure you probably deal with it in the gym, you get that one parent that's just like, really, they're complaining about something. That was one of the biggest hurdles for them as teachers, were like, you're not just dealing with the kid, but nobody ever thinks little Bobby's a bad kid. So, to have to talk to a parent about their kid being bad, they're like, the parents sometimes are worse. And then it's the child times two in a lot of cases, right? So now it's like mom and dad. Now you got to deal with those two personalities. It gets really difficult, and nobody wants to hear that little Bobby is a bad kid or is taking out his phone during class or this, that, the other thing. They just hated it. They hated it. They're like so happy. They're like, my daughter sent me a message like, "Thank you for giving me." She's 3 years or no, 2 full years in August, and she's just like, "Thank you for this. Thank you. I don't have to go back to teaching." You know, we all work remote too. So I'm in Florida, she's in Virginia. So it's that remote environment is nice too, to get to work from home or to go to an office or work from a coffee shop and do what we do is great. But let's talk about, let's fast forward to the new gym. So I know the last time we spoke, right? Did you sell or you closed your gym, right? I guess you were focusing on Grappler's Guide when we spoke 3-4 years ago. Yeah.
So I sold my gym back then in 2013. It was like, I think it was 2013. So I could just focus solely on the Grappler's Guide. And I was talking about this the other day. I think I'm the first person ever in jiu-jitsu to have a full-time career online through online jiu-jitsu. Yeah. I don't think anybody else was doing it then. Like,
because everybody also had a gym, or
they had a gym. Exactly. They ran a gym, or they were trying to compete to make money. Even then, you weren't making any money competing. But when I sold my gym in 2013, I think I was the first person to ever live 100% off of online jiu-jitsu, and I still do it. Yeah, it's been well over a decade, and the online jiu-jitsu world is basically my primary source of income. So I sold my gym so I could live autonomously through the Grappler's Guide and just keep on working that. And it's been a pretty awesome journey and well worth. It was a decision. It was risky, right? So that's the other thing too, is being a perpetual action taker. I take risks, right? You can't be a perpetual action taker without taking risk, in my opinion. So that was a scary decision. And when I made it, it was scary, but I truly believed in it. And it panned out because it gave me just tons of freedom. It gave me the ability to do this online thing, which created full autonomy for me.
How long was that? How long did it take to get to that place where you were like, I can do this full time?
So I launched the Grappler's Guide in 2007. So 6 years, basically. But my turning point was 2011. I probably could have did it before 2013. It's just like, I had to battle the things in my brain in terms of making the decision, because it really was a big life change decision. And 2011 was a turning point because that's when I started becoming really popular with my YouTube videos. And then the Grappler's Guide started taking off. So back in 2011, I was already making career money through the Grappler's Guide, but I was running a gym at the same time.
And is that all YouTube money, if I can ask? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that's YouTube money? It's monetizing from YouTube, and that was enough money coming in, or were there other things?
No, it was the Grappler's Guide.
The Grappler's Guide. Okay, so
people don't make money through YouTube.
Yeah, okay.
I don't care what anybody says, like jiu-jitsu guys, even the most popular channels, they're not making money through YouTube.
It's the sponsorships that what people don't realize, right? I mean, if you're making YouTube money and not doing something like you did with Grappler's Guide, they're doing partnerships and they have sponsors and things like that. If they're making money.
Yeah, complete transparency. I think the most I've ever made in a month on YouTube was probably like in between $800 to $1,000, and then it just kind of leveled out to anywhere between $300 to $500. Now, yes, that's a car payment. I'll for sure take it. Yeah, and I still get a check every single month from Google through YouTube because those videos still are constantly watched, and my other ones. But it's not like life-changing money, basically.
But it definitely propelled the Grappler's Guide forward. I mean, it not only gave you the idea and said, "This is something I could do," but it was definitely feet through the door to the Grappler's Guide.
Oh, 100%. Right? The Grappler's Guide was life-changing money. Like, I'm talking like multiple six figures. Like, wow. I had years where I made just about $1 million in sales through the Grappler's Guide. Wow, that's awesome. I don't really talk about the numbers as much with Grappler's Guide, but then I even had this epiphany the other day where, because I've literally done it, like there's so many people in the business world that consult and they talk about how you can be an expert in something, but they never actually did it. They don't even know what it's like.
The consulting is the thing that might have blown up for them, but not necessarily a business outside of consulting.
Yes,
I have a huge
they
problem with
never
those
did
people.
it. Yeah, but I'm like, I actually did it. I'm very fortunate that through hard work, I was actually able to do it. And even now, the Grappler's Guide still is my primary source of income, because the gym that I run now, that was a bonus. I started running the gym that I have now because the internet started getting boring. Basically, I was like, I just want to be in front of people and teach again.
Yeah. So is that was the start of this new gym? Is it, now tell us about it. This, your gym, first, where's it located? Is it yours? Are you partnering with anybody? Is it your full-time gig now during the day?
So it's called Rebel Jiu-Jitsu. It's in East Brunswick, New Jersey. It's 5 minutes away from my house, because I wouldn't open a gym if it was any more than 10 minutes away.
Perfect.
It's solely mine. I don't partner with anyone. I did it once in my life, and then I broke the partnership, and then I had my own gym again. This is technically my third gym. We'll say I'll never have a business partner again. It's like a terrible marriage, usually.
I agree. I don't do partners with anything that I do.
So unless you have such good chemistry with the person and you guys can communicate well, it has to be like a really good marriage. If you don't have those things in place, I wouldn't recommend a partnership most of the time. But
I say I'm probably the bad partner, because I just want to do things quickly. Like you said, you're perpetual action taker. Sorry, I screwed that up. Perpetual action taker. I want to get that term right. Because I want to move so quickly, it's hard to do things I call it by committee. I'm like, again, in my marriage, I used to be like, this isn't a board meeting. I'm telling you what I'm doing. I'm not asking you permission. Not nasty. It sounds probably nastier than the way I said it, but I just like, this isn't a board meeting. I'm like, I have to do this. I need to buy this camera for the podcast. I need to move this here. I need to do that. So having a partner and having to run it through committee, like, it's different for the nonprofit. I'm happy to have the people involved and like run things by. It's just a different format. It's a different model. But in my own businesses, I'm like, I can't wait till somebody gives me approval to spend $600 on a camera or on some marketing. It's just, makes it more difficult.
Yeah. So I shied away from the whole partner thing. Plus, at this point, it wasn't necessary. Like I mentioned, I was very fortunate. The Grappler's Guide has been a huge success in my life, and it still is a huge success. So that is what built my academy. Mm-hmm. And then I built the academy out like it's already been here for like 10 years. So, it's about 3,000 square feet. I have full spring mats with like metal spring flooring. And I think it looks like a great academy. So when people walk in, they're surprised we've only been open for 16 months, because it looks like we've been here for a decade. And the premise was that I still need an autonomous lifestyle, though. So I didn't work as hard as I did to create autonomy to take that away. So I teach when I want to teach, basically. I have certain days that I teach, and that's because those are days that I want to teach. But if I don't want to teach those, I have people who can teach them. I have a full-time instructor who makes a full-time salary as well. I have other instructors that probably make more per class than most places in the country. I have a full-time academy manager as well too, and he teaches the young kids classes. So I'm also very fortunate that like I'm not bogged down by the gym. So the gym doesn't own me. I run it like a true business. We got 140 students our first year. Our expenses were covered within 3 weeks, fortunately. And, so far so good in terms of running it. And I do enjoy teaching. I did miss just being in front of people. I was teaching through the Grappler's Guide, but I wasn't seeing like faces, and I missed seeing faces.
Yeah.
So that was a huge, and the other aspect is it's amazing being part of the community that I live in. So I live in the town that I teach in. And a year and a half ago, I knew some people, but not really many people. Now, like I go all over the place and people know who I am. It could be a bagel shop. I have these relationships with other business owners, police officers. We have tons of police members. And it's just a nice change in terms of like the social aspect. I think that's something that I was missing in my life with just being purely online, because when you're purely online, people don't realize that it could actually be lonely sometimes too.
Oh yeah. Once again, you're making me think about my own existence here, because for Black Belt, we're 100% remote. I have an office right across the street from my apartment that I live in that I don't use. I'm working from home most of the time. I do a lot of networking. So I go to networking meetings, happy hours, things like that. I do get that face-to-face with people. But everything pretty much all day, every day is video chats. We call them huddles. I use something called Slack. So all of my entire staff is in this platform called Slack, and every client has a channel. So we staff can communicate about the client, like keep the conversation in one chat off of our phones, off of texting. You can upload there. You can put your PDFs and images and need this for approval. Like everything, it's done that way. So I can literally work from anywhere. I'm like famous for sitting in my car for a half hour after the podcast and just go through everything on my phone, whatever I missed during the podcast, and I can just do it all from my phone. So, but it can get lonely. Like people that say, "Oh my God, it's amazing you get to work from home," and it's this, and I'm like, it's not always all it's cracked up to be. It takes a unique individual to be able to not be around people and just do everything by phone, by chat. It's definitely not for people who are like would thrive off of that, that human contact. I've always gone through situations like right now. Again, I do meet, like I'm here today. I get to see Christian. I see the crazy guy that came into the podcast office before we started. I have meetings. I'll do face-to-faces. I have a happy hour on Tuesday. But if it wasn't for that, it does get super incredibly lonely. There are still days sometimes I've realized like I haven't left the apartment in 2 days. I've just been working. I didn't go work out, didn't go train. It's like, wow, there's been zero human interaction other than maybe going to walk my dog and running into people. So that does count. But yeah, before I had my dog, I might not leave the apartment. And then people just like, how do you, oh, it's amazing working for yourself and it was amazing. I'm like, it's not always what it's cracked up to be, or it's not as great as it looks from the outside.
Especially if you love what you're doing too, right? Sometimes that love for what you're doing can bleed time, basically, where you focus on it so much where that's what you're doing all the time. And it could be an isolated scenario. So, I went up to my wife and I said, hey, like I have this, I'm having this urge of opening an academy again. Like, what do you think about it? And she's amazing. She's a very extroverted person, very like bubbly personality. She loved the idea of being a part of the community and being able to meet more people and being a part of like children's lives and so on and so forth. So she was very, very supportive. I checked in with her like at least a dozen times though. I said, okay, so if we're going to do this, you're cool. And we kept checking in on it, and she was supportive. And really the big aspect, I just told her, I was like, I really actually do enjoy teaching, and I've always enjoyed teaching. And every time I taught, it never felt like something that I wanted to end. When I was teaching in a class, there's always just this inner passion behind it. If anybody watching this, if you ever come to Rebel Jiu-Jitsu, take one of my classes, I pretty much think you will see what I mean, where I'm not the person that teaches the class to teach the class. Like I truly want everybody to get better. I truly want them to learn. And I miss that. And I was like, I think I want to run the academy because I miss being around people. I miss teaching. And, the social aspect of online, like we talked about, it's not very high. And jiu-jitsu is what I do. So that's also why jiu-jitsu is one of the most popular martial arts for adults. I tell people it's not about just training anymore. It's about ticking other boxes that make me feel fulfilled in life. And one of them is when I'm done training, I walk out, I'm like, check, I got to hang out with people, basically, just straight honesty.
So you were talking about building so quickly in the community. So, I mean, right, the Grappler's Guide is something that's worldwide. The internet, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff is worldwide. Did you see a local effect from your online presence in the Grappler's Guide? Like people like, yeah, I know you, I follow you, or I'm putting little Bobby into a class, but I watch your stuff. I train jiu-jitsu as well. Like, did that come into play, and was that helpful? And you said you broke even at 3 weeks.
Yeah, it was helpful. People did know who I was. So for those who either switched over from academies or they started training again because they took a break, it was a common thing that they already knew who I was.
Mm-hmm.
I fall into that weird space where people know me more than I know them because I'm like the internet guy who just kind of like stalks the world of jiu-jitsu basically. So that definitely did help. We also have a free Sunday open mat where anybody from anywhere can come and train for free. I don't try to convert anybody on Sundays. I don't ask them if they want to try us out or anything like that. And we have anywhere upwards from 25 to 60 people in a day from 20 different gyms every single Sunday. So I do come across a lot of people there who knew who I was already. Some of them even asked to take pictures. Some come every Sunday now, even though they don't train with me. So yeah, I would be lying if I said that there wasn't some aspect of people that already knew who I was that came over or at least visited because of that.
Do you find it weird? Does it happen now? I mean, I don't know if you go like to competitions or if you, as a school, go to competitions. Like, I see it a tiny bit when people try to talk to me. If they've watched the podcast, they talk to me like they don't realize that they know me because I'm very open on the podcast and they're seeing me, but I don't see them. So like, there's this little thing of like, again, they think that they know you and that there's almost a relationship there. Not in a crazy way. I haven't had anybody like really super crazy, but does that happen to you? Like, hey, you know, sir, like realize I don't know you. I don't see you like you see me on the screen. I'm not seeing you back. So it's like this little weird little thing that happens sometimes. They want to talk, they want to shake hands, and like they think that there's this perceived like friendship there already. Does that happen to you?
Yeah. So fortunately, I'm not like Craig Jones popular, you know, where, you know, if Craig Jones is in, people are staring at him or they just constantly want to. It's almost like when you're in the jiu-jitsu scene or a tournament, he's going to be a lot more popular, but there is some aspect of people who do know who I am and they'll say hello and they maybe want to take a picture. And for me, it's weird because to me, I'm just like a human. So like, I don't really like do the starstruck thing or anything like that. So it's always like surreal for me.
Yeah.
But I don't really fall into the scenario where I feel like people feel like they know me.
Yeah.
You know? And I guess they might feel like that with you more than me because you have a podcast and throughout your podcast, you're talking about your life a lot more. Whereas me, I'm just talking about jiu-jitsu techniques.
Sure.
You know, like
I guess so,
maybe with my Instagram shorts, people are getting more of an idea of how I am outside of just straight jiu-jitsu because I'll share my opinions on certain topics more that are related to jiu-jitsu, but they reflect my personality and my views. So I think with my current videos that I'm making now, people are starting getting they're getting another side of my like personality and perspective because very often they just know me as being the guy who does 50 techniques in 10 minutes. You know?
Yeah. I do. The one that makes me feel good though is especially like I'll invite somebody that I train with or I went to a seminar and I recently had a group, 2 people on that started an academy together, Ohana Jiu-Jitsu Academy down in Plantation, Florida. I was at a seminar at the new school that I went to and they were amazing. And I was like, are they married? Are they together? I asked and I said, I'd love to have you guys on because I love that dynamic. I love talking about the relationship side of it. Even before I got divorced, I was always interested on how that relationship was navigated. But like when I always love when I'm like, hey, you know, I do this podcast and they look at me and smile and go, I know. But they didn't tell me before. Like, it's not like, hey, I watch your podcast. Like that, I almost like that one better. I'm like, hey, I got this podcast. I'd really like to have you. It's like, oh yeah, I know. I've seen it. I watch or I listen. That makes me feel good because I'm just like, okay, you treated me like it wasn't weird. And then I actually went, right?
Like a human.
Yeah, like it's not weird. You know, we're not that popular, you know, but in the jiu-jitsu world, especially in South Florida, like people really know, you know, they recognize. But I do like that one where they're like, I know. You know, like, but they didn't act weird about it. They didn't treat me any differently or act weird. And again, by no means am I you or Craig Jones, but it feels, you know, it feels good. It's I guess validating is the word. It's validating. It's like, oh, people are actually watching those numbers. There are people behind those numbers that we see, which is always fun. So I was looking over your shoulder. You were about to say something. I'll let you go. Go ahead.
No, you can talk because I don't remember.
All right. So I was going to ask you, and I see it over your shoulder. You were talking about keeping notes before, and I was going to ask you, I'm like, you know, do you have like a written curriculum? And I see over your shoulder, it says core curriculums right there. Do you see it? I see it over your shoulder. Yeah. So I see that. I see that it says core curriculum. So I was going to ask, so you're providing curriculums for somebody can go in there and get a curriculum, like maybe a white belt curriculum? Is that what that means?
Yeah. So for example, like you have like the core curriculums here where like somebody can like go and it just gives them like an idea of like different things in terms of like the curriculum objective. There's like closed guard positional tips. We talk about like hip distance. just concepts and things that would help them at a fundamental level.
So is that just as much for the practitioner or coach? Because I see curriculums and automatically I'm like, oh, a coach can go there and then really understand like this is what I should be teaching and then bring it forward.
I mean, either or.
Okay.
Either or. I would say probably more for the practitioner because I'd be lying if I said that it's probably not even organized to the way that I would personally organize it for. The Grapplers Guide has so much stuff on it that like I'm constantly going back into it and reorganizing things or redoing videos. I just put a guard retention course up because all the guard retention stuff that I had in the Grapplers Guide, I don't even believe in anymore.
Really?
So I moved that old stuff to an archive so people could still have access to it. And now there's a guard retention 2024 course, which is like, okay, if you want to learn my most current philosophies, watch the 2024 stuff. If you want to learn how it evolved and like the old stuff, watch whatever's in the archives, but I don't really do that anymore.
Okay, so I have two questions there. Well, I have a suggestion and then a question. So my suggestion is, because I know that that's a struggle for a lot of gyms. I mean, I saw that and I assumed I saw like kind of like the picture of like the books. I assumed that was like a curriculum, like I'm a coach and I can go here and then like look at the curriculum and then like take that forth to my school.
They could definitely go on that and use it for sure.
I mean, I think that that's a huge thing that a lot of gyms are missing. Most of the gyms, I think all of the gyms that I've been at, I know there's not a written curriculum. They're not working out of a curriculum. My first school, and I have the book and I still look at it. My first coach used the Jiu-Jitsu University book. Yeah. Jiu-Jitsu University. He used that. I'd walk in and he'd be like this going like, basically, what am I going to teach today, right? But it would be more like where he would grab stuff out of it, but there was no written curriculum. He did start to write down like just like bullet points of the things that you had to do to test, like you should know these things, but again, not a written like daily curriculum. I feel like I don't know anybody I've never been around somebody who's done it, so I don't know exactly what it would look like inside of a gym. Like literally, like I'm going to have a folder or a loose leaf book, right? With like, this is what we do on Tuesdays and this is what we do on Wednesdays. I don't know if you've ever operated like that, but I feel like that's something that's missing from a lot of gyms where it's just like, hey, let's work on this week, or let's do this.
We have everything written down on a weekly basis, usually about 4 to 6 months in advance.
Okay. So how do you,
and all the instructors have to teach the same topic throughout the week. Okay. Basically. So everyone's on the same page.
I know somebody, do you know the guys from BJJ over after 40? BJJ after 40? Bidwell, Mike Bidwell.
Mike Bidwell.
Mike Bidwell and his wife, Sheena. I actually just bought their book. Like I was talking about books before. I'm like, I got to read this one because I'm going to their retreat in November in Costa Rica. And he's been on the show a couple of times. I've had him and his wife on now, so I consider them friends. I know, and I'd love to talk to him about this because I don't think we ever really specifically spoke about this, but I know that he only starts new people like on one day of the month. Like everybody that's going to start, it's not like Wednesday somebody started and Thursday somebody started. He starts all the people on the same month. So like they're all at the same, they're all learning the same stuff right from the beginning. So I guess I believe it's like sometimes, okay, let's do beginner's jiu-jitsu and everybody's going to kind of go through the system and you will have all been here learning from the same point as opposed to, one person started on the 1st and the 15th and then the 30th, right? And they're all at different places. So he's specifically like, no, you can't start this way, right? You're starting on this day, if I'm not mistaken. And I believe he does that, again, so that there's some type of curriculum. Okay, you're going to do it from here to here. But my other question from before was, what changes when you say like, I don't even teach that. I don't even agree with, did you use the word agree? I don't even agree with using that stuff. I don't even do that stuff anymore. What takes you from that? Is it just a change in yourself and the way you do jiu-jitsu, or is it like the jiu-jitsu world has changed a little bit? What takes you from like, I would never do that today to this is the new way to do it? So
most of it is experience. Also combined with seeing how the evolution of jiu-jitsu has gone, along with speaking and studying with people that I know and friends. So I know you had Nick Salas on your podcast a couple years ago, and you asked him like what it was like to train with me and so on and so forth. But what's interesting is like life goes full circle. I actually learned so much from him and his business partner, Danny, in terms of technical jiu-jitsu and he's actually had a big impact on me in terms of the way that I approach my jiu-jitsu in a technical manner, along with people like, Jonathan Thomas, Mikey. The plus with having the Grapplers Guide is I got exposed to so many different types of people early on before they even became popular. A lot of these guys, I filmed with them before they became big names. Okay. And it opened up my eyes to certain concepts and aspects. And even though I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 23 years, basically 23 years, I'm considered old school now. I constantly am a student of the game. So I refuse to be complacent in my learning of jiu-jitsu. And if I think there's something that's more efficient than what I knew before, or something that's technically better, I will throw out what I did previously and replace it with what is more efficient and technically better. And, sometimes I'll make adjustments and I'll just clean up what I did before. And other times I'll just completely be like, whatever I did before, that's not even worth doing anymore, because I'm going to do this now because it creates efficient jiu-jitsu and it has a much more effective outcome, in my opinion.
Do you train with them a lot? Do you get to train with Nick?
Yeah, so I train with Nick. I trained with Nick this past Sunday. So Nick comes by on Sundays all the time. Okay. And then me, Nick, and Danny every once in a while. Like I said, being around like-minded individuals, we'll just go and have coffee. We won't even train. Like, we'll just talk. Yeah. We'll just talk about stuff. Because they're very smart, like-minded individuals. I believe they understand jiu-jitsu very well. I believe they're very underrated in terms of their instruction and how they break down jiu-jitsu and the way that they approach it too. So I try to surround myself around those type of people. And it just so happens that I've known Nick for a very, very long time, ever since he was a kid. And then I met Danny through Nick, and Danny matches that personality. So, I'll talk to them about their technical approach to jiu-jitsu, which is very modern. And then they'll ask me about certain aspects about business and all that stuff, because that's where I'm even more of a black belt,
Sure.
So it really has been a help having them close. And I would like to think it would be like a mutual thing as well.
When you said Mikey before, are you talking about Mikey Musumeci? Is he up that way? Is he up around that area?
No, Mikey's not up that way, but Mikey has had a huge influence on them.
Sure.
As well. And I did film with Mikey before. I think I filmed with Mikey possibly before he filmed with BJJ Fanatics, right before then. And I got to train with him one time, and I just got to see his mind and the way that it works. And I try to pay attention, even if it's one sitting with somebody, I try to pay attention. How do they approach things? How do they think? And if I feel like it's something that can be useful, like one little nugget, I'll take that nugget and I'll just roll with it.
Very cool.
For example, at my academy, right, we do 80% guard retention. Like guard retention. That's what makes jiu-jitsu unique, is the guard, right? So we put so much effort in not getting your guard passed that if you can get good at that, the rest of jiu-jitsu kind of falls in place, basically.
Okay.
So white belts actually have to learn guard retention before they learn escapes at my academy. We don't focus on survival as a white belt stage. We focus on prevention. Whereas very often throughout the life of jiu-jitsu, people talk about, well, white belts need to learn escapes. They need to survive all the time. And me, I'm like, no, they need to prevent things. We start neutral. Like, why am I going to teach you how to survive from the beginning when you and I start neutral? Like, I'm not going to teach you to accept being in these bad spots when I could teach you everything I can to not be put in them in the first place. And then, yes, if you end up there, let's talk about it. So we're guard retention and deleting frames, like removing frames, passing, disassembling guards. Those are the biggest things that we focus on our academy, like basically on repeat. I tell my students, if this is boring to you, if this is stuff that you feel like you've heard a million times, good, because we're just going to keep doing it.
So I sense I have to read people like through the phone, just their voice, or like this these days, right? And you're kind of smiling a little bit. There was a little smirk while you're saying this. Is it because you do realize that people don't necessarily agree with that, right? Because the traditional
100%.
jiu-jitsu is absolutely like, in your first 6 months, you're gonna just survive, just keep on showing up, right? So you were kind of smirking a little bit. It was kind of like you're saying it. And you kind of, I know that people don't agree with this, but is that what it is, right?
Yes, 100%. There's a large amount of people that do not agree with that philosophy, and that's okay. We don't have to agree because there are many people who end up doing well in jiu-jitsu and they end up getting good in jiu-jitsu following the survival path.
We need both of them. You need both, and it's, you know, if you learn one first, you're going to learn the other, but you do need both. This is just your take on it.
Just in my view, from my perspective, it's more efficient and it's more fun to learn the preventions first. It's more fun to learn how to have a strong guard and not allow your opponent to pass it than it is for me to get crushed all the time and deal with escapes, right? Yeah. It's more fun learning systems to where, wait a second, maybe I can actually work hard to stop this person from getting me in mount and side control and making my life miserable, right? Then accepting them, basically putting me in side control and mount and dealing how to work with that miserable situation. Like, I feel like a lot of white belts end up quitting because they get crushed all the time and they're not working on the prevention stage enough. So for me, like when I walk into my academy, like you'll walk into an academy and you'll see like 20 white belts in the class. And it's almost like, man, I got to train with these guys. It's a bag full of elbows and knees. When I walk into my academy, I don't have that.
Yeah.
I love training with my white belts. Like we have white belts that have been trained for 4 or 6 months. They're my favorite people to train because they're technical, because they're already working on guard retention systems. They're already working on these things to where we take away the bag of elbows and knees as soon as possible, because usually it becomes like the spazzy white belt happens because they don't have a systemized approach to passing and they don't have a systemized approach to playing their guard. That's usually why they end up being spazzy.
There's I'm started to type it in to see if I could find it. I forget his name. There's just this younger kid that does a lot of like no-gi videos and he does instructionals. And one of the things that I took away, and again, sometimes it's just this little thing, and it wasn't a move, but it was a concept of staying connected. Like I'm usually, or I have been for most of my jiu-jitsu career, the bigger guy in the room. I'm 230 plus. I'm like 235 right now. I'm usually going to be the bigger guy. So I pull guard so that I don't beat up on this white, blue, purple belt. Like it's like the perception sometimes is like, if I'm taking them down and I get them on top, it's almost no fun for me to just do that because I'm going to be more powerful. I'm going to be heavier. So I pull guard a lot. I want them to work and I want to be defensive. And one of the things that I started to work on really at like black belt was really staying connected. So when somebody is attacking me, like I've got my hand on their wrist, I've got, maybe like my inside hooks, like maybe butterfly. I'm absolutely staying connected so that I'm not going to let them, if I can get both hands or if I'm on my side, I've got an arm. And then like, it's the simplest thing, but nobody ever taught me that. Like literally, like if my hands shouldn't be just here, like I'm going to go for his wrist. And now he can't really go anywhere, or I might have his wrist in the back of his head. Like he can't go anywhere. He's just fighting like I can't get or if you have the gi and you're locked into the you've got the gi on that side, same thing, right? Like he can't go anywhere. So it's the littlest concept that I try to work on a lot with anybody that I'm rolling with, white or black belt, is I'm like learning to frustrate them or to he can't pass, he can't knee cut because I've got this arm or I've got this one, or again, I've got some type of inside position, but I want my feet and as many of my hands as I can to be connected to them so that they can't play their game. And it's something so small for me that I had that aha moment when I started to actually do it. Like, yeah, it seems basic. It's like, oh, you weren't connected before. I wasn't intentionally connecting with a purpose to keep them away from doing something. So again, I just consuming this stuff in these smaller bits is absolutely what's always worked for me. And that's again why your stuff resonates with me a lot too.
Yeah, that's something that we work on a lot, like frame placement, right? And frame removal. So when you're playing guard, it's all about frame placement. When you are passing guard, it's about frame removal. So when we have those concepts in place and we're thinking about either frame placement when we're playing guard or frame removal when we're passing the guard, it actually starts making jiu-jitsu easier because we're not thinking in terms of what moves we're doing. We're thinking in terms of what frames are the most important to work with. So in that way we could advance our position.
Sure. So the Grappler's Guide, is it still the one time you buy in and it's the one time charge? Is that still your platform? I'm gonna make an admission. I kind of feel like silly to say this, but after we spoke, I became a member, and I still just watch his stuff on YouTube. I know,
and that's okay. It's not going anywhere.
I need to get in there and really, like, I'm not that familiar with Inside the Grappler's Guide because I've always kind of just gone through the YouTube. Is it still your same? Is it still the same as far as cost?
That's what makes it beneficial. Is that, like, it's a low barrier to entry, basically, and you don't feel like you're getting duped month by month by month, especially if somebody's not putting enough content on. There's benefits to both people, right? So there's benefits to me by doing lifetime, because there's sometimes I'll go 2 months I won't put any content up. You know how bad I feel? Zero.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I don't feel bad at all.
Sure.
I don't.
Okay.
Why don't I feel bad? Because if you're paying whatever you paid, I don't care what it is. It can be $300. It could be $80. In my opinion, you got your money's worth, right? The amount of instructional that is on there, it's like 10,000 videos, over 300 courses, which in reality would cost thousands of dollars, even with sale prices on BJJ Fanatics.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, if I didn't put a video on for a month or 2 months, you still have enough content to last you for a decade.
There's nobody that's gone through all the content. So if you don't put something up, it's just like, there's plenty for, I don't think you've probably ever gotten anybody that says, hey, you haven't put up anything new in a while, right? That doesn't happen.
No, a couple of months will go by. I'm busy with family stuff, or like I was doing the gym, and I'll be like, hey guys, I'm sorry I haven't put any content up lately. I have some things planned. Everybody posts like, listen, don't be silly. Don't even worry about it. The amount of content that's up there, we wouldn't even be able to get through it. The members on there are so supportive, especially because I do truly believe that I over deliver with the way that I do it. It's not a monthly program. And even now, like, people can get the site for as low as $77 right now.
Really?
Depending on when they get in. Yeah, sometimes it's 77, sometimes it's 97, sometimes it's 107. Some people are like, they mess with me because they say that I say like it'll never be this low again. It's marketing. Like, that's just the reality of it. At this point in my life, Grappler's Guide, 17 years it's been around. It has the most videos of any platform. In my opinion, is an extreme value, and I don't tell anybody to talk about it. I don't ask about reviews, and I'm very fortunate that people, even on Reddit, they say, join the Grappler's Guide. Before you buy anything else, join the Grappler's Guide, and they still do it to this day. So at this point in age, I'm like, whatever you pay for it, I think it's worth it. I think it's a great value. So, like, if somebody doesn't, then that's not my problem. I don't know.
So from a business, if you don't mind me asking, you don't have to talk about this if you don't want to. So, okay, you get the lifetime membership. With the numbers that you were just talking about, like how much you made in a year, are there other things that people can buy and opt into once they're on? Is it like, these games is like, oh, now unlock this. Is there any of that like going on your site?
Like upsells?
Yeah.
No,
nothing. It's that and that. You get everything from Grappler's Guide.
I've been in the internet marketing world for so long. I've played around with the upsells and all that. It just doesn't match my personality. To me, it just doesn't match. Like, I believe in truly over delivering. So, and I believe if I do over deliver and I provide value at the same time, and people also understand that, I'm transparent, that I'm going to have good karma, even in business. And so far, that's pretty much how it's been with the Grappler's Guide. I have the Striker's Guide and I have the Weapons Guide. So some people will buy those websites as well. And I've had people buy those websites and they're like, dude, I wasn't even interested in this. I just wanted to give you more money.
Wow.
Because I feel bad, basically. I'm
going to make my staff watch. I've never made them watch a podcast, although they they're helping market it, posting on social media so they see clips and things like that. But so much of what you said is exactly what I preach. I don't care what somebody's paid me, like no matter what package they paid me. A lot of times we'll over deliver by doing things that are in like maybe one of the bigger packages just because I want to see them do better. They're going to, they're going to stay with us. And, a lot of what we do is, I would call it subscription based model where they're paying us monthly to handle their marketing for them. So I say exactly that. I never have a problem with over delivering. I have a problem if we under deliver. The second I
100%.
see, the second I see it, like I do the reports for every single client. I do a video report. They're seeing my face on the screen, and I'm going through their chat. I'm going through their reporting and their dashboard, and say, oh, look, we could do a little bit more here. You need to ask for more reviews, or look, we had a really good month. We're up here. Let's keep that going. Let's do this. Let's do that. So when I look at that, and if I see a report that looks like it's down, why is it down? Yeah, my dentists are all going to be down in July and August, every one of them. Because it's summer, people are away, people aren't going to the dentist, right? And then it comes up in September. So unless there's a reason, let's do something. There's things that we can do to talk about more, post an extra post, add some Q&As to their Google business profile, do all of these little things that'll help them get found more. If a client, knock on wood, a client cancels. I've had clients cancel because of their industry. They've sold, they've closed a business, has nothing to do with the marketing. Like right now, real estate agents in the toilet. In Florida, there's nobody's selling, nobody's buying because nothing's on the market, right? I just had a real estate agent who's a friend and in a business group with me. She's like, it's so dead. I just got to say, we're not getting anything from anywhere. None of our marketing is working. She's like, so I'm just going to save a little bit of money. She's like, I got you in my 2025 budget. I'll be back. And I don't care. I know. And real estate agents are the hardest to deal with anyway. I like to deal with the brokers, but not necessarily the agent. But it happens. And again, in that situation, I'll tell, listen, I'm going to report to your listings for you. Don't worry. I'm going to keep them on. I'll just keep on doing it. Just let me know when you want to start paying me again, because it's the relationship. She might give me referrals. And again, over deliver, even though she's not having success on the program, but it's more the industry. She's never going to say like, wow, I didn't really get a ton out of this.
What I tell people is in business, right? The perfect world is you create advocates. You don't have customers. You create advocates, right? Your goal is not to have a customer, it's to have an advocate. And when you have an advocate, everything else falls into place, right? Good things happen because now those people support you even when you don't even realize they're going to support you. And if you created advocates, that means you put a lot of things in place to where you did over deliver. You actually showed them that you care about them and you want them to get some sort of value to where they almost feel obligated to support you. And I don't ever make them feel obligated, but that's just essentially
human nature.
What happens. Yeah, exactly.
You had told me when we spoke last time about Reddit, and Reddit was that kind of the place that really helped you blow up in the beginning, right? I think I started a Reddit after that, but I'm never on it. But I took your advice. I did start a Reddit for the podcast, but was that an integral part of you blowing up? And right, people were talking about you and sharing there because you've mentioned Reddit more than I don't think I've heard you say the words Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or any of that. Although you're there and you're putting out content there, Reddit was a big part of what really helped people find you, right?
Well, the reason why I mentioned Reddit now is because in this day and age, the past, we'll say 5 years, Reddit has become extremely relevant. When I first started, it wasn't Reddit. It was YouTube and forums. It was mixedmartialarts.com and SureDog. And then there was jiujitsuforums.com as well. And then there was NHBgear.com. So the forums, the jiu-jitsu forums were very popular. Those have all died, and Reddit is the number one forum for jiu-jitsu. So I have always understood the importance of being a part of the jiu-jitsu community, whether it's offline or online. And Reddit is the most active jiu-jitsu forum in existence right now. So I try to make sure that I am active on Reddit. And it's not even for business purposes per se. I'm a fan of jiu-jitsu. So since I'm a fan of jiu-jitsu, I want to go where people are talking about jiu-jitsu. And it just so happens that it helps tie into the Grappler's Guide as well. So in the beginning, it was YouTube and forums. And then also a lot of blog sites ended up sharing my videos a lot. So I got a lot of I went viral just in the jiu-jitsu and MMA world. They were sharing my videos. But now, I would say the past 5 years, especially, Reddit is the biggest community there is in terms of online conversation. And I don't mention Facebook as much because, groups and all that, they've died out a lot, you know, and it tends to be junk, and you can't really like get through the messages and the comments very well.
Yeah.
So it's not really as strong.
I know I get every overseas Asian company trying to sell me gear. You must see that to like an nth degree.
Oh,
like,
my goodness.
Right. Every day it's so much that, unfortunately, the sad part about that is that there are sometimes legitimate questions or people trying to interact with us, and it gets buried in all the bullshit between like, hey, you've broken this policy, and it's just like spam, somebody trying to get access to your, like a phishing scam.
For sure.
Or and gear that nobody pays attention to it, and there's real stuff in there. And because I do have, just a handful of people that I work with that are either in the martial arts community or they do jiu-jitsu, but they own another business. So like I'm on everybody's page. I'm an admin on their page when we start working for them as the owner of the company. I'm on everybody's page because I want to keep an eye on stuff. Mm-hmm. And I see the messages that come through on Instagram and on Facebook. And it's just we're all getting the same bullshit. As soon as you put jiu-jitsu on your page or you start commenting on stuff, you're getting all this crap of like, hey, we want to give you your gear, and everybody's getting the phishing scams, those emails for the phishing scams. So unfortunately, it gets buried in a bunch, like a good potential client, a good fan that wants to really talk to you or thank you for something. I'm like, shit, this is 3 weeks old and I didn't see it, because it gets buried in just like the muck of those messages. So I kind of hate it for that, but necessary evil for some companies, I guess. For us, we're using like even a Facebook page, we're using it for its directory properties. So it's important even for a business looking for local business because it has name, address, phone number, and website link. So it is a directory page. Facebook, X, like all those pages, right? We're absolutely, I say prostituting, and we're prostituting them for their directory properties, not because we want to build a following for you. A dentist isn't going to build a huge following, right? A roofer isn't going to build a huge following, Yeah.
Do you use Yext? Like Yext,
yes.
where and then all that applies, so that way you can have matching directory pages and have good SEO and all that jazz. Yeah, it's one of the first things we turn on. I do understand the relevance of like Instagram and even social media as well, or even TikTok. So that's why I currently also do the shorts now the way that I do them, because in 2024, the Instagram Reels, the YouTube Shorts, the short form TikToks, and so on and so forth, they help you stay relevant as well too. So you can't sleep on those things, because there is some importance if you want to stay relevant. Like, I've been in this for a very, very long time. Grapplers Guide has been around for a very, very long time. So I always have to do things to kind of keep myself in front of people. And if I don't mold with the times and I just kind of act like an old hag in terms of like the way that I did things or the way that it works, then I'm going to fall behind. So I do understand the importance of those things. So that's why you see me making more short form content in terms of Reels and like YouTube Shorts. Do
you have a team that's working with you? I'm going to say, I doubt that you're doing this on your own still.
So I did have a team. I don't have a team anymore. Then it was pretty much myself. And now I just outsource the filming, basically. Okay. I outsource the filming, and then I outsource the editing to like a freelance company. Sure. Okay. So I kind of like piecemeal and outsource it myself. But we'll film a bunch of stuff in one clip and then just kind of like put it out there. I was posting every day, and then I started testing out like every other day, and I started actually seeing better results by posting it every other day. So I test out all different things to kind of like see, what the engagement will be, what the story shares are, and so on and so forth. But it's just to kind of stay relevant in the jiu-jitsu community. So people don't forget who I am.
Yeah, I was gonna just ask. I think you kind of answered this before, because like you said, like some of the old stuff you don't even believe in anymore. I was gonna say it would be interesting to put out some of the old stuff so people like could see, like taking some of your old stuff and then cutting that into even shorts from the way that you did it, just so people could see where you came from. But if you don't believe in the content anymore, or your jiu-jitsu's changed that much, then maybe it wouldn't be relevant, or just kind of like a blast from the past kind of thing,
Yeah, it almost makes me cringe doing some of the stuff that I.
Shit, I'm still looking. I'm still using that old stuff, man.
Listen, it doesn't mean it won't work. right?
Yeah.
So jiu-jitsu is jiu-jitsu. It still works for many, many people. It's just that like, I'm always thinking about how can I grow in terms of like high level jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah.
You know, whenever I talk to my students, I say, you're not learning how you can be good against other white belts. You want to learn how you can be good against high level black belts, even if you're brand new. This is what we're trying to figure out. So, you know, I'm always working on my efficiency, especially now that I'm 44. Like, to me, it's like efficient jiu-jitsu is the best jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah.
If I could put my frames in place and do all this stuff that seems intricate, but to me, I don't even feel like I'm using any energy, that's amazing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So the plus is I still like doing this stuff. So I'm on a constant journey of improvement even now.
Tell the folks out there who haven't seen your stuff or maybe are you know, have been watching your new stuff, like tell them some of the names that were, I mean, again, you know, Craig Jones, you mentioned Mikey, to give them some of the names of the people that you have on Grappler's Guide who, you know, might not have been the big name before, but they're somebody that they would recognize.
So Craig Jones is on there, Mikey Musumeci is on there, Lachlan Giles is on there, JT Torres is on there, Travis Stevens, Josh Hinger, Isaac Duderlin is on there as well. There's Michelle Nicolini, who people don't really know as much as they did back in the day, but she's a 10-time world champion. And then
Fionn on there?
Who else? I have Fionn on there.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. I have Fionn on there. I have Nick Salas and Danny Myra, who are Mikey Musumeci black belts too. So there's just a ton. Jonathan Thomas, who's very popular. Shintaro Higashi, who I don't think he filmed with anybody. Now he has like 100,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel. He blew up too. I don't take any credit for these people blowing up, but they ended up blowing. Jonathan Thomas blew up since then. I don't take credit for him, but we did consult a bunch with stuff. So Jonathan, if you watch this, you know, we did consult on
Send
something. I won't take credit for your growth. Yeah. That's the other thing too, is like, because I was doing this already, like a lot of these people who are like high level competitors and making their waves and trying to grow, they would ask me questions and I would give them like a free pass to like pick my brain on how I'm this Joe Schmo who's able to make a career of online jiu-jitsu. And like, who am I? Like, I'm not a world champion. I'm just somebody who decided to roll with an idea.
So again, I want to go back to this one thing and then we're going to get into our drill down. The numbers that you said before, when you're selling this for 70, 90, 100, do you have that many people opting in that you're still making? Again, if people don't understand this, right? I think I purchased my lifetime membership to the Grappler Guide at $99 or 97, right? It's usually sevens, right? You do sevens. So I think it was $97.
I do ones and twos or.
There are that many people still purchasing that you can keep this going like this. I mean, it is worldwide, right?
Yeah. My customer base is the entire world.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations, man. I love it.
Thank you.
I like to see, especially when it's jiu-jitsu, if you can make the hobby into a business and not get sick of it. I think it's an amazing thing. And I think jiu-jitsu is one of those unique hobbies that you can turn into a business. I mean, look at all these people out there, you know, doing content, you know, it doesn't always mean they're making tons of money, but people making content, you know, trying to blow up their gyms a little bit. Then they get on speaking engagements and things like that. Do you do seminar? Does your school compete? Do you do seminars? What else are you doing out there where people can come see you, or are you just sticking to what you know?
So my school started competing. We started competing. So we didn't get into like the big competitions yet because we're pretty young. I don't teach seminars. You know, the traveling just wasn't as fun. I thought about doing it again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't teach private lessons. I haven't taught a private lesson in 15 years.
Really?
Yeah, like I'm just chilling, man. So my whole thing is my goal. I tell people your goal as an entrepreneur should be to create freedom.
Yeah.
Right. It's not just about money. People don't realize how much value there is in freedom. So that was always my goal of being an entrepreneur, is creating freedom And I was able to do that. And now that I run a gym again, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to run a gym, but I need to keep this freedom, basically.
Yeah.
So one day I told my wife too, I was like, one day I'm just going to start teaching people about how I did things in business, because like I'm actually somebody who has done it.
Yeah.
And, I don't know exactly when I'll do that. I do believe I have a lot to share in terms of that, because it's like I've been there, done that type of thing. And a lot of people, they fall into this scenario where like they want to be entrepreneurs, but they're just grinding, man. They're just stuck in the grind.
I don't want to sound like a broken record, and I don't want to make this sound like I'm kissing your ass. You just said exactly what, again, I specifically said the thing about freedom to my daughter. I'm gonna make him watch this, and I'm gonna I want you to come back with the report so I know you watch this. I told her one of the biggest things that I wanted to give her here as an adult. She's 30. I was a young dad, so I'm 51. She's 30. When she left her teaching gig, I went up to DC to visit her, and she was like, it was like the summertime, and didn't have a job. And I told my wife, I'm going to mention that I'm hiring, and I want to see if she bites. I'm not going to ask her to work for me. I just want to see how driven she is, and I mentioned it, and I didn't even get the words out of my mouth. She's like, I need a job. We're in DC, we're at dinner, we're having drinks. And I was just like, okay. And then I went home, and I used to do this when I was hiring or interviewing people too, which is I would tell them, oh yeah, great. Let's talk next week. And I would wait for them to call. I want to see how bad this person wants a job. Are they going to call and follow up? Are they going to send an email, right? She said, hey, what's going on? I really am interested in this and that. And she came to work for me. And one of the things that she saw immediately was the freedom. And I reinforced it. I told her, the one gift I think that I can give you, I may not have said it exactly like this if she's listening, so she'll correct me. But I did say, it feels so good to show you that life isn't about these 9 to 5s. Have you ever seen the helicopters doing the traffic report in the morning, and it's like you see all the cars going, driving down the highway and slow and it's moving, right? I think of that like ants. Look at all the ants. I look at it now, and I'm just sitting in my living room having my coffee. I'm working. I'm doing my work. I'm up like everybody else. But those little cars remind me of little ants, little worker ants going to work, and then they come back, and then they're miserable and unhappy. And you add an extra hour drive time to an 8-hour day, or an hour back and forth. So now it's a 10-hour day. I think it's a miserable experience. And the gift of showing you that life has more to offer than that, and the freedom that this can give you. I tell it, look, take breaks. Take a walk, work from a coffee shop, get with a friend and work together, go to a coffee shop and meet up and work together and get the work done. Change your environment. But I want you to see the freedom. She went to 7 weddings last year. 7 friends of hers got married. And I started to get annoyed after I go, you're taking this freedom thing a little too seriously, right? But she was constantly going away. But, I'm paying the salaries, and I'm like, oh God, again? Really? You're going again? I thought this was the last one. The last one was the last one. But the fact that she got to do that and not have to worry, she worked, she'd take her computer, she'd work in the morning, she'd be engaged, but then boom, then she had the freedom of not having to worry about it. I was here. She could check in when she wanted to. That freedom I mentioned before about I'm going to sit in the car when I get out of here and look at my phone, and I might work from my phone in the car for a half hour outside just to make sure that I have everything. But that freedom, I've got something to do after this. I don't have to go back to the office, but I'm in the office because I have my phone. That freedom, most people don't even understand that. They're scared to. You kind of said something before about people don't have the guts to take that risk. They're not risk takers. And it's right there, man. I'm nobody special. I am nobody special. I'm running 3 businesses, 2 of them very successful. The third one is new. The nonprofit's new. But I'm running multiple businesses, and I'm just a guy with an idea and a little bit of a passion about something. So if I could do it, you can do it kind of thing. And again, that was one of the best gifts that I could give her, I feel, is not only that showing her that freedom, but Black Belt Digital Marketing is hers if she wants it. I'm I want to be done. I'm I got 2 more years that I'm going to really put into this hard. And then I just want to do sales, and you're running this company. I'm I truly want to be, kind of doing just not an absentee owner, but I really want to pass this over to you so that I could work on the nonprofit and do lots of podcasting. Because there's nothing better that I love. The only thing I love more than doing jiu-jitsu, or excuse me, I should say, if I'm not doing jiu-jitsu, I'm talking about it, I'm in heaven, right? Yeah. The only thing, if I can't be doing jiu-jitsu, the only thing that really fills that gap for me, or that empty space, is talking about it with people that do it and are passionate about it. But again, that giving her that freedom and showing her that there's something else out there was super important to me, and probably I feel is one of the best gifts I can ever give her, is this new life that she has. And now her fiance, who was teaching longer than her, because he's while she's been working for me, I think they started in Virginia working in the same school district at the same time. He worked for 2 more years. He just left, and he's working for us now. And I told him, I said, hey, don't think that this is all fun and games and like, freedom,
Yeah,
it's
you
hard
have to
work.
earn the freedom.
You do have to earn it. I go, I'm not going to just give you everything. I'm not going to hand it to you. You're going to work for it. But there is this beauty in coming into something that's already kind of successful. Your wife or future wife is working, and she would always joke. He comes home and he sees me sitting on the couch with my laptop on my lap working, and he's just like, oh God, is your dad hiring? So again, one of the craziest or the best gifts I could probably give her is just showing her that this exists. But we work hard. She works hard. She works an 8-hour day. But being able to break it up, change your environment, go take a day off, take a week off without somebody breathing down your neck or yelling. I still give her a little shit on it, but But you get it, right? It's just like, but people just don't take the risk and don't do it. And I would tell anybody that's listening, like, if you have the idea, do it. I have a friend in Colorado. I tell him he does property management for a company, and he really wants to do it on his own. And I said, look, every week, because he's not ready to do it, I said, every week, do one thing that brings you closer to that. Register the company with the state. I'll do a logo for you for free. Let's build the website. Let's start getting let's do things nobody's going to know. Nobody at your company's going to know. But let's do one thing a week. And because the real estate industry is in the toilet, even out by him, what's increasing? People want to rent their properties. So property management is taking off now. Now people are like, can't sell, don't want to sell. I'm going to take a hit, or what am I going to do? Right. So property management is up. So I'm like, I've been telling you one thing a week. You just be ready for it, and boom, it's here. And now you haven't been doing it. If you would have been doing it, now's the time. There's so many people and clients that you have that would work with you and not the company that they're currently with. You could take them, maybe poach them, but get new business as well. So I'm a huge advocate of just do one thing, little things that get you closer, but like one foot in front of the other, or I like to say pennies make dollars.
The
one
compound
penny.
effect.
Yeah, one penny in the piggy bank, right? Today it's only 1 penny, but all of a sudden there's $1, right? So I do tell people that again, I don't know if you'd say it about yourself. I am nobody fucking special. I'm a college dropout, a dad at 19. And I've been this serial entrepreneur, a person most of my life, but a serial entrepreneur. Every business, whether I had to close it or not, led me to something bigger. Maybe, closed my first marketing company, but then I, got a $100,000 a year job, right? And then it was just like that. Oh, now I learned everything I needed to open this marketing company, right? Everything led to something else. And even the podcast, I'm less worried about sponsors. We just get clients from because now we read Black Belt Digital Marketing for the last 3 years has been the main sponsor. So now we get clients off of it. So it's unintended, but it just happens. Why not sponsor ourselves, right? So little things like that have happened. So it's been happy coincidences, and we got lucky. And again, let the business steer, and it's happened. So don't want to go on about that, but I'm talking to an entrepreneur. So I feel like the things that you're saying are the same things that I preach. And I really do hope I'm going to get my staff to listen to this so that they hear what I'm constantly telling them from somebody else that's successful and doing something. If they don't, if they do listen to this, what you've done is pretty spectacular within an industry where there was no money. There was no money in jiu-jitsu before. You couldn't be a competitor and live. Right? You had to have a gym, right?
And the reality of it is, there's for 99%, there still isn't money in jiu-jitsu, right? And if you want money in jiu-jitsu, you have to do the best you can to work to figure out how to create that money in jiu-jitsu.
Carve out a space.
So
right?
Yes, exactly.
And you said before, and I don't think that you're ever going to be worried about a competitor coming into your space because you're so successful at what you do. But you said before, the only reason somebody never replicated what you did with the 55 moves in X amount of minutes, right, was because it was so difficult. Do you think that there's a place for that? Would you ever go back to that and do it, or is it just no? It's just did that, been there, done that. But again, I still love to consume those. If you did them now, I'd be looking at those new ones. I think the last one I made was maybe 6 months ago. I still make them every once in a while. But do you do them with multiple moves? I don't know that I've seen the multiple.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
so
okay.
I have a Kimura trap one. I made a wrestle up one. Very relevant ones too. I think the most recent one I posted was a 35 De La Riva. techniques and concepts.
You know what
as well.
I
That's
know
on
that
the-
I'm
That's
following.
on the Jiu-Jitsu in Minutes.
I was going to say, you know what it is I don't watch it as much. So if I watch it more, then you get more. So I think my feed is full of Kill Tony and other stuff that I just haven't, like, again, you watch and you get fed that same stuff. So I got to like go in, watch some of your stuff.
I'm trying to get a second YouTube channel with 100,000 subscribers. That's just like a random personal goal. I don't need it.
Where's the Grapplers Guide at?
But I just want it. 168 or something,
Wow.
I don't even know.
Wow,
160 something thousand.
Yeah.
But I focus more on the Jiu-Jitsu in Minutes one because I'm like, you know what? I want to get 2 YouTube plaques. That one's approaching 18,000.
Okay.
Something like
Very
that.
cool, man. All right, listen, we're going to start to wrap things up, but let's do our drill down. The cool sound effect will get put in later. That's
The drill down.
So let's talk about some of these have changed. Some of these might sound familiar from 3 years ago. So we'll go down. These are the most popular questions that we get from the public. So gi or no gi, preference?
No.
No. Takedown or pull guard?
Takedown.
Music during rolling, yes or no?
Yes.
What's your preference? You're controlling the iPhone or
Spotify mix.
Yeah.
I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah.
Just put on the Spotify mix that changes every day.
What's your favorite genre of music for yourself, though?
So probably hip hop.
Okay. There's a selfish one. There's a reason I asked that one, because when I start to tag people and stuff, or I like invite collabs or put out the stuff announcements, I'll use whatever the music they told me is their favorite. I use that in the stuff on Instagram.
I'm pretty diverse though. Yeah, but if I had to pick one, I would choose hip hop.
Most annoying things that students do.
What most annoying things that students do? What do they do? What do they not do? Let me think.
I'm going to give you mine. This is the most annoying thing that I know that I've done, and I still to this day might catch myself doing it when somebody's teaching me a move, and I'll be like, yeah, I'm not that flexible. I can't really do that move, or I'm giving the coach a reason why, like, that's just not for me. And then I listen and I do it, and I'm like, oh shit, I didn't really. Oh, if I put my foot here, I can actually do it. And then I was like, oh shit, I could do that. So shut up and just listen to your coach.
So the most annoying thing that students do is when they ask how to counter what I'm teaching.
Okay.
Basically, like, so if we're talking about guard passing, like, they'll immediately say, how do you stop the pass? And I'm like, dude, I'm in the middle of teaching you how to do the pass. Like, I can't even think about that right now.
How about as a gym owner, and you said you have a staff, you have people coaching, what are the most annoying things that the coaches do?
Late.
Yeah.
Late or running over time too far.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. That, for me, that's annoying.
What would you be doing if you hadn't found martial arts?
What would I be doing if I haven't found martial arts?
I'm almost positive we asked this question way back. I don't
really.
remember.
I wonder if it possibly changed. You know,
well, if I recall, did you use like graphics?
Owner of some sort. Yeah. I did graphic design at some point, but like, I would definitely do something that's entrepreneurial.
I feel like I remember that was your answer. Like you mentioned something about graphic design, if I remember. So you're putting out.
I don't think I would be able to sit in front of a computer though. I'd have to do something that was busy. It would probably be another sport thing or whatever. Did you
play any other sports like growing up? Was there anything that you were into?
So I played football for 4 or 5 seasons, and freshman year I realized I wasn't getting any bigger, and then I wrestled. I wrestled for 5 seasons too. Okay, all right. Yeah. Do you, as somebody that puts out a lot of content, are you consuming a lot of content, or is this kind of like, I put it out, but I'm not? I can't sit here in front of the computer on my phone. Not really. All day? You don't watch anybody else's stuff? No, I get into the scrolling sometimes too. I think everybody does that, but I don't really seek out a lot of information. But in terms of jiu-jitsu, okay, I'll seek out information in terms of just general knowledge. Like I'll read audiobooks and stuff. Who are your favorite competitors to watch? So JT Torres, just because I think he has like amazing fundamental jiu-jitsu. I like Mikey because I think his guard is just amazing as well. And then you have the entertaining guys like the Vertolo brothers, like Tackett and everything. They're just super, super entertaining to watch. Mika Galvao, another super entertaining guy. I love watching competitive jiu-jitsu just in general. So as long as it doesn't even matter if it's boring jiu-jitsu, like if it's technical, I like it.
So CJI or ADCC? Specifically this last event.
This year CJI. 100%.
That was I think that was amazing. I think
100%. I don't know who Craig sold his soul to, right? But
right, he sold it to somebody.
Listen, there was I don't care what he says. There was some soul selling going on for whatever happened.
Something got sold.
So I don't know who owns him at the moment. Some guy in Ukraine or wherever, but it was very, very, very well run and extremely entertaining. So. And the wall, the karate combat wall, I thought was extremely entertaining. I thought the Gabby thing was really weird.
Wasn't my favorite.
I thought the Renato Laran, I don't even know how to say his name anymore.
Renato Laranja.
Yeah. So he was cool a decade ago, but overall, I thought CGI was much better. I did watch some ADCC, but I tuned into all of CGI.
I think the wall was the game changer. The fact that not only kind of used as a cage wall, like almost you can call it like a weapon and guys are flipping off of it. The fact that the action didn't stop is key.
And I think I heard that Karate Combat has that patented. So he had to get permission.
I asked that question on one of the last episodes. I wonder if they have that. Did we see that anywhere else? Because there's a reason why other people don't say octagon. I think UFC, right? They wound up getting a patent, trademark on it.
I think I saw somewhere that Karate Combat or somebody that is affiliated with them literally responded. I forget where it was that the angled wall was a patent. So
good for that. Great for that guy.
He got permission from them.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. I think that's the game changer. I don't know how. I think that ADCC. It would be great if they adopted it, but I don't know how they could adopt it with that format because, multiple mats running. What did they have 3 this year where they've had 6 in the past, I think, right? So do you wall each one? How does it work? Can people not see? Now everybody's got to be raised up. But I think it's something to look at. I think just that whole, look, they let them run off the mat and they're rolling around on the rugs and onto cement. I think they should really look at, okay, if we do something where you can't, the action doesn't stop, it not only goes quicker, but it's more entertaining. Look at CGI.
Yeah, I thought CGI was very good. I mean, the one thing I would change, maybe it's just the first one because it was the first ever, but most people don't care about the interviews. Just interview the winner, basically. You know what I mean? So that caused it to drag on a little bit, but that's just me if I just wanted to nitpick on any negative. But overall, the production was extremely good. Very, very surprising for something that was put on, the idea was 4 months old or something like that.
Pretty quick came together.
It was a very surprising scenario, yeah.
From our end, it looks like it goes off without a hitch. There weren't, other than when they chose the winner of the car, that person, they chose their own. That was the biggest glitch. Hey, we chose a winner. Oh, that's not a seat or that wasn't a ticket. Let's do it again. Other than that, there was no glitches.
Even that just made them look human. It wasn't really
Okay, I've got 2 more questions for you. Ultimate goal in the world of jiu-jitsu. Where do you want to see yourself in 5-10 years? Let's talk what do you see your legacy being in this world of jiu-jitsu?
5-10 years, I'll probably be playing more of a coach role, to be honest. In 10 years, I'll be doing jiu-jitsu for 33 years at the time. And then I'll be, 54 years old. My body would have taken however much damage that it has taken. But my jiu-jitsu has gotten a lot more efficient, so it actually takes a lot less damage because I feel like I have a lot more efficient jiu-jitsu. But I think I'll probably be playing a lot more of a coach role, focusing probably on my academy. And I'll still have the Grapplers guide. I don't plan on ever getting rid of the Grapplers guide, but I think I might even transition into kind of teaching people, how to be a successful entrepreneur. We'll see how that goes.
Okay.
Depends.
Very last question. If you remember this from the last podcast, do you or do you not wash your jiu-jitsu belt?
I do. Yes.
You do. You're a belt washer. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
It's going to say.
I do. Not all the time, though.
Okay.
So, I would be lying if I said I wash it all the time. And I got my new fancy belt right here. Since I just got my
Oh, look at that.
4th degree. I'm like, I got another 5 years, so I'm going to get one of those fancy ones that are embroidered. So I probably wash it like once a week.
I've been
But
doing.
I do wash it. I'm not the anti-washer. I'm not the person who's like, you should never wash it. But I'd be lying if I said I wash it every single time.
I say this all the time. I've been doing. I always wash my belt. Always had 2 belts. Just throw one in the wash, dry one, take another one to the gym. Now I have my black belt. I figured I'm going to have this belt the longest. I wanted it to last. I've been doing Lysol and Neutral Zone. Neutral Zone Clean has a spray. So they were an old sponsor of the podcast, so I still have some. I hang it, spray it. I haven't washed it yet since December. But other than that,
I'll Lysol it and stuff too.
Yeah. Not that I'm never going to wash it, but right now I'm just like, yeah, I just want it to last.
Yeah, fortunately at my academy we have a washer and dryer here, so I'll just throw everything in.
Okay. All right. So appreciate you doing this. I want to give you a second. Make sure if you want to thank anybody, say hello, any sponsors, things like that. Obviously, give your Instagram handles, remind everybody where they can find you, and give out the .com as well. You have the floor.
So first, thank you for having me. You're the main person that I will thank in terms of that regard. People could find me on all the social media platforms. The Grappler's Guide. If you look up the Grappler's Guide on Instagram, or Jason Scully, you'll find me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all those different places. YouTube, Jiu-Jitsu in Minutes. That's the YouTube that I'm really like pushing the most. So if you look up Jiu-Jitsu in Minutes, that's where I have like 72 Kimura traps in 12 minutes or something along those lines. And grapplersguide.com. So grapplersguide.com has been around for 17 years, and there's tens of thousands of videos, over 300 courses from myself and tons of high-level jiu-jitsu coaches.
Unlock the power of your online presence with Black Belt Digital Marketing. Their reputation management program ensures your Google business profile seen by more potential customers. Black Belt Digital Marketing is your full-service digital marketing agency specializing in local SEO and reputation management. Boost your business today. Visit bbdigitalmarketing.com. Your success is their priority.
Special thank you to the crew over at Flow and Roll for all their support. Flow and Roll is renowned for their incredible no-gi rash guards, shorts, and leggings. Flow and Roll has quickly become the premier custom apparel provider for academies big and small throughout the United States. Reach out today to discuss your custom order and ask about their incredible pre-order program. You can send an email to flowandroll@gmail.com or visit their Instagram at flow_n_roll and shoot them a direct message. And yes, they can create an awesome custom gi for your academy as well. Visit flowandroll.com to check out their awesome designs, and remember, you'll get 20% off your purchase of t-shirts, rash guards, or gis with code JJD.
Highly recommended, everybody. Highly recommended. So, Jason, stick around for a second. We're going to do a couple of pictures at the end once I wrap this stuff up here, just for promo and putting out the podcast, if you don't mind. Quick shout out to combatcbds.com. You get 20% off with code JJD. BioPro, check them out at bioproteintech.com. You get $30 off with code JJD on their regularly priced kits. That winds up totaling more than $295. The BJJ box is back with us as well. Check them out at thebjjbox.com and get 20% off with code JJD20. You can check me out. All of our properties are at Jiu-Jitsu Dummies or Jiu-Jitsu Dummies Podcast, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, everywhere. My personal IG is Uncle Milty BJJ. And that's it, everybody. Again, Jason, appreciate you for being on. Hang on for one more second. And thank you for watching and listening, everybody. Peace, love, Jiu-Jitsu.
Thank you.
Well, I'm over here.